Good day. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of St. Petersburg and an offering for contemplative meditation, a reading from which to draw a spirit-nurturing word or phrase to hold and focus on within, while walking or sitting for 5 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever time you have for nurturance. This reading is offered in the fourth week of Women's History Month, and in this week also containing spring equinox, a World Water Day, International Day of Forests, and the day commemorating victims of slavery. Our reading is from Unbowed by Wangari Maathai, a Kenyan, the first African woman to win the Nobel Prize and the first person to win the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize for her work in environmental justice. A couple of relaxing breaths, focusing on breathing in and breathing out. Listening to the reading, listening for our resonant word or phrase to hold within. Words from Wangari Maathai. I was born the third of 6 children in 1940 in a small village in the central highlands of Kenya, of what was then British Kenya. My parents were peasant farmers, members of the Kikuyu community. They lived from the soil and also kept cattle, goats, and sheep. At the time of my birth, the land was still lush, green, and fertile. When a baby joined the community, a beautiful and practical ritual followed that introduced the infant to the land of its ancestors, and conserved a world of plenty and good that came from the soil. Whether they were praying, burying the dead, or performing sacrifices, Kikuyus faced Mount Kenya. As long as the mountain stood, people believed that God was with them and that they would want for nothing. Sadly, those beliefs and traditions have virtually died away. They were dying even as I was born. When European missionaries came to the Central Highlands at the end of the 19th century, they taught the people that God did not dwell on Mount Kenya, but in heaven above the clouds. The missionaries were followed by traders and administrators who introduced new methods of exploiting our rich natural resources: logging, clear-cutting native forest, establishing plantations of imported trees, hunting wild animals, and undertaking expansive commercial agriculture. Hallowed landscapes lost their sacred meaning and were exploited as the local people became insensitive to the destruction, accepting it as a sign of progress. It was many years before I was to understand what I now know, that my parents raised me in an environment that did not give reason for fear or uncertainty. Instead, there were many reasons to dream, to be creative, to use my imagination. Even though I was entering a world where there were books to read and facts to learn, cultivation of the mind, I was still able to enjoy a world where there were no books to read, where children were told living stories about the world around them, and where you cultivated the soil and the imagination in equal measure. Sounds like a world we all came from in our ancestors. Keep focus on a worthy word or phrase that resonates within you. If your mind drifts, just come back to your breath and your focus, feeling and growing as best you can. Blessings.